And we're back.
Now, it's an exciting week ahead for the Akanksha Foundation. Talk about what's coming up this week and how you're preparing for it.
So this is the first time we've been invited to be a member of the Clinton Global Initiative, and we're really excited today. It was our new member orientation. I was sitting at a table with people from South Africa, Ethiopia, England, all doing amazing work in the field of education, energy, environmental change, and I think for us it's just a way for us to push our bar higher about the quality of what we deliver, about how fast we scale our programming, about how innovative we are, about the methods that we use. So we're really excited, not just about this week, but about the impact this week is going to make on our organization.
Now, Clinton Global Initiative, really a global platform for leaders to work toward change.
Yeah.
How do you feel Akanksha is going to contribute to this week, and what do you hope to gain from this experience?
Yeah. I think Akanksha is going to contribute in talking about what it takes to achieve quality. So a lot of the organizations around us are talking about scale, so hundreds of thousands, millions, billions. How do you reach that number? And what I think is unique about Akanksha is recognizing the kind of investment it takes to make a fundamental change in children's life, and how do we actually scale that. So I think we bring to the table the very real challenges and the kind of investment we need to make to have that fundamental change happen. And what we'll learn from others there is what does it take to actually scale this, and let's push ourselves to innovate on how fast we can do that.
Now, Akanksha is actually making a very significant commitment to do a certain thing at the Clinton Global Initiative. Talk to us about that commitment and how you hope to fulfill that commitment.
Sure. So today we run 9 schools across the cities of Mumbai and Pune. We plan to scale that to 15 schools that will serve 5,000 children by 2015. Eventually these schools will serve 10,000 children. That's our commitment that we're planning to make. We plan to do that by really building our human talent pool, the leadership pipeline at Akanksha, and we also plan to do that by building our advocacy efforts with the government to receive funding for the schools that we run, and eventually to scale what we do in Mumbai and Pune to every urban area in India.
When you're here in the States, people are very focused on what's happening in the United States, education of children here. Why is it so important, do you think, to educate children in India, especially in the lower income communities, and what do you think this does for their futures?
Yeah. So 94% of Indian children do not make it past the 10th grade. That constitutes 420 million people, which is larger than the population of the United States. If these children continue to go on uneducated, it impacts the entire world. So if you think about the magnanimity of that problem, everyone needs to care. This is not a day and age where people can only think about their community, their city, their country. We need to care about what's happening in other countries because ultimately it affects the quality of life that we live ourselves.
Okay. And talk to me a little bit about, this very prestigious award that Akanksha recently won. It won the NGO of the Year award. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about that and how it feels to be the recipient of that very prestigious award.
So we just received the NGO of the Year award. It was awarded by the Rockefeller Foundation and the Resource Alliance in India. It's just very humbling to receive that award. I think we have a long way to go to achieve what we're talking about, to make the kind of impact on kids that we're talking about. So it just keeps us accountable to what we say we're doing, and to be better at what we're doing every day.
What do you hope comes out of this week, and especially out of these events that you're having in smaller venues? What do you hope people leave with?
I hope people leave with, even though there's 420 million children in India who are not getting the quality of education that they should be, that it's possible, that they can, that there's real innovation happening in the sector, that there's real potential, and that India can change, and that some sparks will light off in my mind about how do we actually take what we're doing in just 9 schools, to not just to 15, but to hundreds of schools across the country.
Talk to us about Ed Village and how long you guys have been around and what you do.
Okay. Ed Village really got started this April, and what we decided to do was focus on helping education entrepreneurs and innovative schools actually become even better. And so that's why Akanksha fits into what we would like to do. the work we'd like to see happen in India. Akanksha, with their 9 schools and a focus on after-school centers, has been truly inspirational to us. And what EdVillage hopes to do is work with their CEO, Vandana, and the rest of their staff and significantly improve, particularly their aspects of their teaching and learning and their measuring of student achievement. There has been examples of high-performing schools in the U.S. that my partner Mark and I have worked with, whether it be KIPP and the Knowledge is Power program or Uncommon Schools, originally founded by Norman Atkins and some colleagues there. And we can take some of those lessons from the U.S. and apply them directly to the work that Akanksha is doing in India, but keep the essence of what makes Akanksha, their connection to the community, their deep involvement with parents and students, and leverage what we've learned in the U.S. to help them improve.
You know, so many people in the United States, especially when it comes to nonprofit organizations, are so focused on helping those who live in the U.S. Why is it important, from your perspective, to educate a global population, and what does that bring back to us?
Right. You know, so I think that you can actually do both. I think you have to take care of things at home, and you also have to take care of things outside of home in this case. So as an American, I think it's really important that I spend either time or some of my extra financial resources helping the communities of which I live in or the community of which I come from here in New York City. But also, I think you have to look outward. You have to look towards the international community, and where there is need, we hope that people will take that seriously and contribute to that need. It is critically important for Americans, I think, and to contribute to the global community in such a way that we empower people and not take away their resources or come in with some dictates. We really feel that it's critically important to empower people.
It's a monumental week ahead for the Akanksha Foundation. They've been invited to participate in a global conference. It gives them a huge global platform. How do you feel this is going to benefit them, and what do you think they'll take away from this?
Right. I think the biggest benefit for the Clinton Global Initiative, the biggest benefit to Akanksha being part of the Clinton Global Initiative is really 2 things. One is a recognition of the hard work that they're doing every day. I just spent 2 weeks in India, and one of those weeks was visiting Akanksha schools and programs. And I can tell you they're some of the hardest working people I've met, and they are driving education reform in India. They are doing one of the most critical things, is demonstrating what is possible for low-income kids in urban slums, both in Pune and in Mumbai, and I think that's so critically important. In regards to their presence at the Clinton Global Initiative, I think what's interesting is the Clinton Global Initiative is going to benefit from Akanksha's presence as much as Akanksha is going to benefit from being invited and attending the Clinton Global Initiative, because India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Its year-on-year growth still averages above 7%, and with that kind of growth, it is critically important that the international community recognize that India is here. It has arrived. And in that arrival, there's things that we can do to help the country continue to move forward as the world's largest democracy. And if you look at the U.S. politics and you look at their first state dinner, who was invited to their first state dinner? That was India. Who's one of the largest partners right now in the global arena? It's India. Who are we trying to make sure that we have stronger relationships, whether it be at the K-12 level in education or at the university level or in business exchanges? It's India. And so India's sort of its role in the world has changed drastically over the last 10 years. And I think Akanksha is on the forefront of making sure that it continues to play that role by empowering low-income kids and their families to gain access to education that has been so elusive in India for them.
And Swani, talk a little bit about your boutique and why it is you've decided to open up your space to the Akanksha Foundation tonight.
Sure. Swani K is a platform for Indian designers and Indian artists, and it took me like 3 years for this whole project to come along. And one of the reasons why I supported Akanksha is because I believe in giving back. Right from the day I started, anybody who's shopped at Swani K, we give a percentage of the sales back to India in a small town called Palanpur. It's again going to the kids for a uniform as well as a meal. So I've always been associated with Akanksha, and I thought it would be a great platform for me to open up my doors for Akanksha, to give back again.
Now, this is an exciting week for Akanksha. You know, they're going to the Clinton Global Initiative. They're actually have been invited for this global platform. How do you feel as a supporter that Akanksha has reached this level of participation and this level of kind of community involvement?
I think, for right now, India, as you know, is booming. And usually, for all of them to come and partnership with somebody in America is amazing because it's another platform. As well as, again, relating back to Swaniya K, it is a platform for Indian designers. And where else would they get a better platform than Madison Avenue? So I feel that any platform given to our Indian organization, it could be charitable, it could be a profit making, it is a very good platform.
Now, a lot of people say, oh, education here in the States is so important. Why focus on education back in India? But really, these kids need that kind of education to be the future of the country.
I agree. Again, I grew up in India, and my husband's born and brought up in America. And we always have this debate, which education is really good. One is completely very practical, which is America, hands-on. Again, in India, it's very self-driven, I feel. So math, English, and science, it's so good. And when you see so much poverty in India, I feel if every person in India who can really afford going to school and they could afford just helping another child, India would really come out from its poverty. And that's why, and they have the good teachers, because if you see again in America, any universities right from Harvard, you can take in Wharton, you see most of the professors are actually Indians. So again, India has the right education, and that's why I feel Akansha is again giving back to the community as a way of education.
What do you hope people leave with after they come to this event tonight? What kind of a feeling do you hope they walk away with?
I hope they understand that Akansha definitely is a very charitable organization. Everybody is doing this as a voluntary to make a difference in their lives. And even, my message would be is every individual can make a difference in the world. So even if one person leaves Akansha making that difference, I think Akansha has already won the battle.
It's now time for another short break, but don't go anywhere. When we're back, we'll check out a very special kind of fashion show. See you on the other side of the break.